The encounter. The crimson dust of Proxima b swirled around Sarah Reeves as she adjusted her helmet's atmospheric filters. The desolate landscape stretched before her, a sea of rust-colored sand punctuated by jagged obsidian rock formations. Sarah checked her suit's readings one last time before venturing further from her scout ship. As humanity's first explorer on this distant world, every step was both thrilling and terrifying. Sarah's mission was simple: gather data on the planet's composition and search for signs of microbial life. The United Earth Confederation had sent her alone, banking on the planet's apparent lifelessness. But as Sarah crested a steep dune, her heart nearly stopped. In the valley below, a scene of violence unfolded. 3 tall, insectoid creatures surrounded a smaller, more humanoid figure. The fallen being's iridescent skin shimmered weakly in the dim light of Proxima Centauri. Sarah's translator picked up snippets of a harsh, clicking language from the attackers. Finish, traitor, secrets die. Without thinking, Sarah activated her suit's stealth mode and slid down the dune. Her training screamed at her to stay hidden, to observe and report. But something in the fallen alien's desperate struggle struck a chord deep within her. As she neared the group, Sarah could see the attackers more clearly. Their exoskeletons gleamed like polished onyx, razor-sharp appendages twitching in anticipation. The victim, by contrast, looked almost delicate. Its form was vaguely feminine, with 4 arms and skin that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. Sarah's hand brushed the stun pistol at her hip. It was meant for self-defense against wildlife, not armed combat. But she couldn't stand by and watch an execution. Taking a deep breath, she decloaked and shouted, "Hey, step away from her." The insectoid aliens whirled, mandibles clicking in surprise. Sarah didn't wait for them to recover. She fired 3 rapid shots, the electrical pulses dropping the attackers where they stood. As they fell twitching to the ground, Sarah rushed to the injured alien's side. Up close, the beam's beauty was even more striking. Its eyes, large and multifaceted like a dragonfly's, fixed on Sarah with a mix of fear and wonder. A viscous, silver fluid oozed from multiple wounds across its body. "It's okay," Sarah said softly, knowing her words wouldn't translate, but hoping her tone would convey her intent. "I'm here to help." The alien's skin rippled, and suddenly, Sarah heard a voice in her mind. "Why? Why would you risk yourself for me?" Sarah blinked in surprise. "You're telepathic." "A gift of my people," the alien responded, its mental voice weak. "But it will not matter soon. The hive will send more. You should leave me." Sarah shook her head firmly. "Not a chance. Can you move?" With Sarah's help, the alien struggled to its feet. Its body was light, almost hollow-boned like a bird's. "My ship," it gasped. "Not far. If we can reach it." A high-pitched whine filled the air, and Sarah looked up to see several dart-like ships descending rapidly. "Looks like we don't have much time. Let's move." Supporting the alien's weight, Sarah half-carried, half-dragged her new companion across the barren landscape. The alien directed her telepathically, guiding them towards a hidden ravine. As they stumbled forward, the whine of engines grew louder. "There!" The alien's voice echoed in Sarah's mind as they rounded a corner. A sleek, silver craft sat nestled among the rocks, its organic curves a stark contrast to the jagged terrain. Sarah helped the alien inside, marveling at the ship's interior. It seemed alive, pulsing with soft bioluminescence. "Can you fly?" she asked urgently. The alien slumped into what appeared to be a pilot's chair, its skin taking on a sickly, pale hue. "The ship responds to my thoughts, but I am too weak. You must do it." "Me?" Sarah exclaimed. "I don't know the first thing about flying an alien spacecraft." "I will guide you," the alien assured her. But quickly, the hive approaches. As if on cue, energy blasts began to pepper the ground around them. Sarah saw the insectoid ships landing, disgorging more of the menacing creatures. With a deep breath, she placed her hands on the glowing console before her. "Okay, she said. "What do I do?" "Clear your mind," the alien instructed. "Feel the ship as an extension of yourself. Imagine us rising, breaking free of gravity's hold." Sarah closed her eyes, trying to push away the fear and adrenaline coursing through her. She pictured the ship lifting off, soaring into the sky. To her amazement, she felt a subtle shift beneath her feet. "Good," the alien encouraged. "Now picture us accelerating, faster than thought, beyond the reach of our pursuers." Sarah's imagination took flight. She envisioned the ship streaking through Proxima B's thin atmosphere, breaking free into the star-studded darkness of space. The alien's voice grew more distant as Sarah lost herself in the mental connection with the ship. When she opened her eyes, Sarah gasped. They were in orbit, the rust-red world of Proxima B shrinking beneath them. A flashing alert on the console caught her attention. "What's that?" she asked. The alien's response was faint, its life force clearly fading. "The hive, they come. Larger ships. We must. Jump. Jump." "You mean like faster than light travel?" "Yes," the alien confirmed. "I can set the coordinates. A safe place. But you must initiate." Sarah's mind reeled. Everything she knew about physics said this was impossible. And yet here she was, flying an alien ship with the power of her thoughts. "Okay," she said. "Tell me what to do." "Imagine folding space, like paper, bringing 2 points together." Sarah furrowed her brow, trying to visualize the concept. In her mind's eye, she saw the fabric of space-time bending, compressing. A tingling sensation washed over her body, and suddenly, the stars blurred into streaks of light. When the universe snapped back into focus, an unfamiliar solar system sprawled before them. A blue-green planet, eerily similar to Earth, dominated the view. "Where are we?" Sarah breathed. "Safe," the alien whispered in her mind. "For now. This world, neutral ground. Neither hive nor human knows of it." Sarah turned to her alien companion, noting with alarm how its color had faded to an almost translucent state. "You need medical attention. Is there anyone on that planet who can help?" The alien's many-faceted eyes blinked slowly. "Perhaps. But first, I owe you an explanation. And a warning." "A warning?" "Yes," the alien's mental voice grew urgent. "Your people, all people in this part of the galaxy, are in grave danger. The hive is expanding, consuming everything in its path. I tried to stop them, to warn others. That is why they hunted me." Sarah's mind raced with the implications, but surely the United Earth Confederation can. "Your weapons are nothing to them," the alien interrupted. "Your defenses, meaningless. But there is hope. My people, we have technology, knowledge that could turn the tide. I carry it within me. Within you." The alien's skin rippled weakly. "Data, encoded in my very cells. The key to fighting the hive. But I cannot access it alone. I need human ingenuity, your adaptability, your boundless creativity. Together, we might stand a chance." Sarah stared at the alien, this strange being she had risked everything to save. In the space of a few hours, her simple scouting mission had turned into something far greater. The fate of humanity, perhaps of the entire galaxy, now rested on her shoulders. "Okay," she said firmly. "Then let's get you healed up. We've got a lot of work to do." As Sarah guided the ship towards the planet below, she couldn't help but marvel at the twist her life had taken. She had joined the Scout program dreaming of discovery, of pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. Never in her wildest imagination had she thought she'd be humanity's first line of defense against an intergalactic threat. The alien's voice whispered in her mind once more as they began their descent. "Thank you, Sarah Reeves. You have given hope not just to me, but to countless worlds." "Don't thank me yet," Sarah replied, a determined smile playing on her lips. "We've still got a galaxy to save." As the ship broke through the atmosphere of the unknown world, Sarah felt a mix of terror and exhilaration. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew one thing for certain. Humanity would face them head-on, with all the courage, ingenuity, and compassion that had carried their species to the stars. The first chapter of their grand adventure was just beginning. Escape and revelation. The alien ship glided through wispy clouds, descending towards a landscape that seemed to shimmer and shift before Sarah's eyes. As they neared the ground, she realized why. The entire surface appeared to be covered in a living, iridescent moss that responded to their approach, creating a natural landing pad. Remarkable, Sarah breathed, her scientist's mind already racing with questions. The sphere. The alien's weak voice echoed in her head. A world of symbiosis and balance. We will be safe here, for a time. As the ship settled onto the moss, Sarah helped her alien companion to its feet. "Do you have a name?" she asked, realizing she'd never thought to inquire before. The alien's skin rippled with soft, blue patterns. "In your language, you might call me Zephyr." "Zephyr," Sarah repeated, smiling. "It suits you." They emerged from the ship into an atmosphere that was surprisingly Earth-like, though tinged with unfamiliar scents. The moss beneath their feet seemed to glow softly wherever they stepped. In the distance, Sarah could see towering structures that looked like a cross between trees and crystalline spires. "There," Zephyr indicated weakly. "The healers dwell within the Harmony spires." As they made their way towards the structures, Sarah's mind whirled with questions. "Zephyr, you said earlier that you carry data within your cells. What exactly does that mean?" Zephyr's steps faltered, and Sarah tightened her grip to support the alien's weight. "My people, the Luminae, have mastered the art of bioencoding. We can store vast amounts of information within our very genetic structure. The knowledge I carry, it is the culmination of centuries of research into the hive's weaknesses." Sarah's eyes widened. "That's incredible. But why encode it into a living being? Why not store it in computers or databanks?" "Because," Zephyr replied, a hint of sadness in their mental voice, "the hive can hack any digital system, corrupt any non-living storage. But the complexity of a living mind, especially one as adaptable as Illuminae's, is beyond their ability to crack." They reached the base of the nearest spire, and Sarah gasped as an opening simply melted into existence before them. Inside, the walls pulsed with the same bioluminescence as Zephyr's ship. A tall, willowy being glided towards them, its form seeming to shift between solid and translucent. When it spoke, Sarah heard the words directly in her mind, much like with Zephyr. "Welcome, travelers. I am Aura, a healer of the sphere. How may we assist you?" Zephyr slumped further in Sarah's arms. "Please, I am gravely injured, and I carry knowledge vital to the survival of many worlds." Aura's form shimmered with concern. "Come, we shall tend to your wounds and safeguard your secrets." As they followed Aura deeper into the spire, Sarah marveled at the organic technology surrounding them. Walls parted at their approach, and floating platforms carried them effortlessly upwards. Finally, they entered a chamber bathed in soft, pulsing light. "Rest here," Aura instructed, indicating a bed-like structure that seemed to grow out of the floor. "The sphere will heal you." As Zephyr settled onto the bed, tendrils of light began to weave around their body. Sarah watched in fascination as the alien's wounds slowly began to close. "Your companion will need time to recover," Aura told Sarah. "Perhaps you would like to learn more about our world while you wait." Sarah nodded eagerly. "Yes, please. I have so many questions." Aura led her to a balcony overlooking the vast expanse of the sphere. The landscape was a riot of colors, with the moss-like ground cover stretching as far as the eye could see, interrupted only by the crystal spires and strange, undulating structures that Sarah realized must be other forms of life. "The sphere is a sanctuary," Aura explained, "a place where different species and ecosystems can coexist in harmony. We have welcomed refugees from countless worlds, helping them heal and adapt." "It's beautiful," Sarah said softly. But how have you remained hidden from threats like the Hive? Aura's form rippled with what Sarah interpreted as a mix of pride and concern. The sphere exists in a pocket of folded spacetime. We are everywhere and nowhere at once. But even our defenses are not infallible. If the Hive were to discover us, Sarah's mind raced with the implications. That's why it's so important that we stop them. Zephyr mentioned that the information they carry could be the key. Aura nodded. Yes, the Luminae are one of the oldest spacefaring races in the galaxy. Their knowledge, combined with the unique adaptability of humans, may indeed be our best hope. A thought struck Sarah. Wait, you know about humans, but we've only just begun to explore beyond our solar system. Aura's mental voice held a note of amusement. My dear, we have been watching your species for a very long time. Your potential is remarkable. It is why the Hive fears you so. Sarah's brow furrowed. Fears us. But Zephyr said our weapons were useless against them. Your current technology, yes, Aura agreed. But it is not your weapons the Hive truly fears. It is your creativity, your ability to adapt and overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. In all our observations of spacefaring races, we have never encountered a species quite like humanity. Pride swelled in Sarah's chest, tempered by the weight of responsibility. Then we have to find a way to stop the Hive. Not just for humanity, but for all the worlds they threaten. Aura's form shimmered with approval. That is precisely why you were chosen, Sarah Reeves. Chosen? What do you mean? Before Aura could respond, an alarm echoed through the spire. The healer's form pulsed with urgent patterns. Impossible, Aura whispered. They found us. Sarah's heart raced. The Hive? Aura nodded grimly. They must have followed your quantum wake. Quickly, we must get you and Zephyr to safety. They rushed back to the healing chamber, where Zephyr was already struggling to their feet. The alien's color had improved, but they still moved with obvious pain. I heard the alarm, Zephyr said. We've led them here. We must leave immediately. Sarah helped support Zephyr as they hurried through the twisting corridors of the spire. Aura guided them to a hidden hangar where Zephyr's ship waited. The sphere's defenses will buy you some time, Aura told them urgently. But you must get clear of this space before attempting another jump. The Hive cannot be allowed to track you again. As they boarded the ship, Sarah turned to the healer. Thank you for everything. I'm so sorry we brought this danger to your world. Aura's form rippled with determination. Do not apologize. You carry the hope of the galaxy with you. Now go, and may the cosmic winds be at your back. The ship lifted off, streaking into the sky as the first Hive vessels began to descend through the atmosphere. Sarah's hands flew over the controls, the neural link with the ship growing stronger with each passing moment. Where do we go? She asked Zephyr. The Luminae's eyes gleamed with newfound strength. To the one place the Hive would never expect. To the heart of humanity's domain. Sarah's eyes widened. Earth. But we can't lead them there. We must, Zephyr insisted. Your people's ingenuity, combined with my knowledge, is our only hope. And there's something else, a secret I've only just remembered. As they broke free of the sphere's atmosphere, Sarah saw the massive Hive ships looming in the distance. She pushed the engines to their limit, weaving through debris and energy blasts. What secret? She demanded, her focus split between flying and listening. Zephyr's mental voice was tinged with awe. Long ago, my people visited Earth. We left something there, hidden away. A weapon of last resort, one that could turn the tide against the Hive. But it requires a human mind to activate it. Sarah's thoughts raced. Why didn't you mention this before? The information was buried deep in my encoded memories, Zephyr explained. Only now, after the healing on the sphere, has it resurfaced. A warning flashed on the ship's console. The Hive vessels were closing in, their weapons charging. Hold on, Sarah warned. This is going to be close. She reached out with her mind, pushing the ship's capabilities to their absolute limit. Space seemed to bend around them as they prepared to jump. The first volley of Hive weapons fire streaked past them, missing by mere meters. "Now," Zephyr cried. Sarah activated the jump drive, and the universe blurred around them. When reality snapped back into focus, they found themselves in a familiar solar system, the blue marble of Earth shining before them. "We made it," Sarah breathed, relief washing over her. But their moment of respite was short-lived. Alarms blared as the ship's sensors detected multiple objects on an intercept course. Earth's defense fleet, Sarah realized. They're not going to be happy about an unidentified alien ship appearing out of nowhere. Zephyr's mental voice was urgent. "We must make contact. Convince them of the danger. Every moment we delay gives the Hive more time to regroup and follow our trail." Sarah nodded, her jaw set with determination. "I'll hail them. Let's just hope they're in a listening mood." As she opened a communication channel, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at the twist of fate that had brought her to this moment. She had left Earth as a simple scout, eager to explore the unknown. Now she was returning as humanity's first line of defense against an intergalactic threat, with the fate of not just her own world, but countless others, resting on her shoulders. The familiar voice of Earth Command crackled through the ship's speakers. "Unidentified vessel, you have entered restricted space. State your identity and purpose immediately." Sarah took a deep breath, exchanging a glance with Zephyr. This was it, the moment that would determine the course of humanity's future, and perhaps the fate of the entire galaxy. "Earth Command," she began, her voice steady despite the pounding of her heart. "This is Sarah Reeves, Scout Class Epsilon. I'm returning with a warning and an opportunity. The greatest threat humanity has ever faced is coming, and we might just have the key to stopping it." There was a long pause before Earth Command responded. "Scout Reeves, you were reported missing in action months ago. Your claim is extraordinary. Stand by for boarding and prepare to be taken into custody." As the sleek Earth defense ships surrounded them, Sarah felt a mix of trepidation and hope. She had made it home, but the real challenge was just beginning. Convincing Earth's leaders of the Hive threat, unlocking the secrets Zephyr carried, and finding the ancient weapon hidden on their planet. It was a tall order, but Sarah was determined to see it through. After all, humanity had a galaxy to save. And if there was one thing Sarah had learned on her journey, it was that when pushed to the brink, humans were capable of achieving the impossible. The adventure was far from over. In fact, it was only just beginning. Alliance Forge. The stark white walls of the quarantine chamber seemed to close in on Sarah as she paced back and forth. It had been 3 days since their dramatic arrival on Earth, and the debriefings seemed endless. She and Zephyr had been separated almost immediately upon landing, whisked away to different facilities for questioning and examination. A soft chime announced the arrival of yet another official. Sarah turned, expecting to see another stone-faced military officer or skeptical scientist. Instead, she found herself face to face with a familiar figure. Dr. Emerson. Sarah gasped, recognizing her old mentor from the Scout Academy. The older woman's face crinkled into a warm smile. "Hello, Sarah. It's good to see you alive. You've certainly stirred up quite the hornet's nest." Sarah laughed humorlessly. "You have no idea. How much have they told you?" Dr. Emerson's expression grew serious. "Enough to know that we're facing something unprecedented. I'm here because the Council has finally agreed to hear you out, both you and your alien friend." Relief washed over Sarah. "Thank goodness. Where's Zephyr? Are they all right?" "Your Lumine companion is fine," Dr. Emerson assured her. "Fascinating being. Our xenobiologists are beside themselves with excitement. But come, we don't have much time. The Council is waiting." As they hurried through the sterile corridors of the high-security facility, Sarah's mind raced. "Dr. Emerson, there's something else. Something we didn't tell the military. Zephyr says there's a weapon hidden here on Earth, left by the Lumine long ago. We need to find it." The older woman's eyebrows shot up. "A weapon? Sarah, That's, well, it's a lot to process. Let's focus on convincing the Council of the immediate threat first. One earth-shattering revelation at a time. They entered a large, circular chamber. At its center stood a holographic projection unit, surrounded by tiered seating where the members of Earth's unified council sat in tense silence. Zephyr was already there, their iridescent skin shimmering under the harsh lights. Sarah took her place beside the alien, offering a reassuring smile. Zephyr's mental voice brushed against her mind, tinged with anxiety. There is much fear here, and suspicion. Just tell them the truth, Sarah thought back. We'll face this together. A stern-faced woman at the head of the council spoke. Scout Reeves, Lumine Zephyr, you stand before Earth's highest governing body. The claims you have made are extraordinary. We require proof. Zephyr stepped forward, their forms seeming to ripple with determination. Honored Council, the proof you seek is encoded within my very being. With your permission, I will interface with your systems to share what I know. Murmurs of concern rippled through the council. Is this safe? One member asked. How do we know this isn't some form of attack? Dr. Emerson stepped forward. Our tests have confirmed that the Lumine poses no technological threat to our systems. What they offer is pure data, information that could be crucial to Earth's survival. After a tense moment, the council leader nodded. Proceed. Zephyr approached the holographic unit, placing a hand upon its surface. The alien's skin began to glow, pulsing with complex patterns. Suddenly, the air above the unit erupted with images, star charts, ship schematics, and terrifying glimpses of hive forces laying waste to entire worlds. For the next hour, the council chambers were silent save for Zephyr's soft mental narration, explaining the history of the hive's expansion and the futile attempts of other civilizations to stop them. Sarah watched the faces of the council members, seeing shock, fear, and finally grim determination settle over them. When it was over, Zephyr stepped back, visibly drained. Sarah moved to support her friend, noting the alien's dulled coloration. The council leader's voice was heavy when she spoke again. The evidence is irrefutable. Humanity faces an existential threat unlike any we have encountered. The question now is, what can we do to stop it? Sarah took a deep breath and stepped forward. That's where we come in. The Lumine believe that humanity's unique adaptability, combined with their ancient knowledge, might be the key to defeating the hive. But we need your full cooperation and your trust. She glanced at Dr. Emerson, who gave an encouraging nod. There's more, Sarah continued. The Lumine left something on Earth long ago, a weapon that could turn the tide against the hive. We need to find it. This revelation sent a fresh wave of murmurs through the council. The leader leaned forward, her eyes intense. A weapon? Here on Earth. Why are we only hearing about this now? Zephyr's mental voice, broadcast to all present, was apologetic. The information was buried deep within my encoded memories. It has only recently resurfaced. I know that it exists, and that it requires a human mind to activate, but its exact location remains unclear. The council debated furiously for several minutes before the leader raised a hand for silence. We find ourselves at a crossroads. The threat is clear, but the path forward is uncertain. Scout Reeves, Lumine Zephyr, what do you propose? Sarah squared her shoulders. We need a task force. The best minds Earth has to offer, working alongside Zephyr to unlock the secrets in their bio-encoded data. Meanwhile, we need to search for the hidden Lumine weapon. And we need to prepare. The hive could be here sooner than we think. The council leader nodded slowly. Agreed. Dr. Emerson, you will oversee this task force. Scout Reeves, you and Zephyr will work directly with the team. You have the full resources of Earth at your disposal. But be warned, if this threat is as grave as you claim, we may not get a second chance. The fate of our world, perhaps of the entire galaxy, rests in your hands. As the council session adjourned, Sarah felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily upon her shoulders. Dr. Emerson approached, her expression a mix of excitement and concern. "Well, you certainly know how to make an entrance, Sarah," the older woman said with a wry smile. "Are you ready for this?" Sarah glanced at Zephyr, who stood tall despite their obvious fatigue. The alien's mental voice was filled with quiet determination. "We have taken the first step. Now the real work begins." "We're ready," Sarah affirmed. "Where do we start?" Dr. Emerson's eyes twinkled. "Why, with assembly, the finest minds humanity has to offer, of course. And I have a feeling you'll appreciate our first recruit." She led them to a nearby laboratory, where a familiar figure hunched over a complex array of holographic displays. The man turned as they entered, his weathered face breaking into a wide grin. "Sarah Reeves, as I live and breathe," he exclaimed. "When they told me you'd returned with an alien and tales of intergalactic war, I thought they'd finally lost their marbles. But here you are, large as life." Sarah laughed, warmth flooding through her. "Professor Chen, I should have known they'd drag you out of retirement for this." The elderly scientist waved a hand dismissively. "Retirement? Bah! This is the most exciting thing to happen in my entire career. Now, introduce me to your luminous friend here. We have work to do." As Professor Chen began eagerly questioning Zephyr about Lumine technology, Sarah felt a spark of hope ignite within her. This was what humanity did best, facing the impossible with ingenuity, determination, and just a touch of mad brilliance. Over the next few weeks, the task force grew. Brilliant minds from every field imaginable were brought in, each contributing their unique expertise to the monumental task ahead. Sarah watched in awe as human scientists worked alongside Zephyr, unraveling the complex bio-encoded data and pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. Progress was made in fits and starts. There were breakthroughs. The development of new shielding technology based on Lumine principles, advancements in faster-than-light travel that would give human ships a fighting chance against the Hive. But for every step forward, new challenges arose. The search for the hidden Lumine weapon proved especially frustrating. Despite poring over ancient texts and using the most advanced scanning technology available, they seemed no closer to locating it than when they started. One evening, as Sarah pored over yet another set of inconclusive data, she felt a gentle touch on her shoulder. She looked up to see Zephyr, the alien skin pulsing with soft, comforting patterns. "You are troubled," Zephyr observed. Sarah sighed, running a hand through her disheveled hair. "I'm worried, Zephyr. We're making progress, but is it enough? Is it fast enough? The Hive could arrive any day, and we're still no closer to finding that weapon." Zephyr was quiet for a moment, their multifaceted eyes seeming to look beyond the confines of the lab. "Perhaps," the alien said slowly, "we have been approaching this from the wrong angle. The weapon was hidden here because the Lumine saw something special in humanity, a potential that went beyond mere technology." Sarah furrowed her brow. "What are you saying?" "I am saying," Zephyr continued, "that perhaps the weapon is not a device at all. Perhaps it is something within humanity itself, a quality or ability that, when unlocked, could turn the tide against the Hive." As Sarah pondered this, alarms began to blare throughout the facility. Dr. Emerson burst into the lab, her face pale. "They're here," she said simply. "The Hive. They've entered the solar system." Sarah's heart raced as she exchanged a glance with Zephyr. This was it, the moment they had been preparing for, yet still felt hopelessly unprepared to face. "How long do we have?" she asked, already moving towards the command center. "Hours at most," Dr. Emerson replied grimly. "The outer colonies are already reporting attacks. Earth's defense fleet is mobilizing." But she didn't need to finish the thought. They all knew that despite their advancements, Earth's forces were still vastly outmatched by the Hive. As they entered the command center, chaos reigned. Holographic displays showed the approaching Hive fleet, a vast, dark swarm that seemed to blot out the stars themselves. Military leaders barked orders, coordinating Earth's defenses and evacuation protocols. In the midst of it all, Sarah felt a strange calm settle over her. She turned to Zephyr, whose skin was rippling with urgent patterns. "You said the weapon might not be a device," she said slowly. "That it might be something within humanity itself." Zephyr nodded. "Yes, but we have no time to." "No," Sarah interrupted, a wild idea forming. "We have exactly the time we need, because we're going to use it now." She strode to the center of the room, raising her voice to be heard above the din. "Everyone, listen to me. I know we're scared. I know the odds seem impossible. But that's exactly why we're going to win." The room fell silent, all eyes turning to her. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. Humanity has faced extinction before. We've stared into the abyss and pulled ourselves back from the brink. It's not our technology that makes us special. It's our spirit, our ability to adapt, to find solutions where none seem to exist. She gestured to the displays showing the approaching hive. "They think they know what we're capable of. They've calculated our weapons, our defenses, but they can't calculate the human spirit. They can't predict what we'll do when our backs are against the wall." Sarah turned to the assembled scientists, soldiers, and leaders. "Each of you has a unique skill, a unique perspective. In the next few hours, I want you to throw out everything you think you know about conventional warfare. Work with the Lumine data, yes, but don't be bound by it. Think of the impossible, and then find a way to make it possible." As she spoke, she saw something change in the faces around her. Fear gave way to determination. Despair transformed into fierce resolve. In that moment, Sarah understood what Zephyr had meant. The weapon wasn't a device. It was this: the indomitable human spirit, the refusal to accept defeat even in the face of overwhelming odds. "Well," she challenged, a fierce grin spreading across her face, "what are you waiting for? We've got a galaxy to save." As the room erupted into a flurry of activity, Sarah felt Zephyr's mental voice, filled with awe and hope. "I believe," the alien said softly, "that we may have just activated the weapon after all." Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the approaching hive fleet. The greatest battle in human history was about to begin. But for the first time since this wild adventure started, she felt truly, unshakably confident. Humanity would not go quietly into the night. They would rage against the dying of the light. And in doing so, they just might save not only themselves but countless other worlds as well. The final countdown had begun. The battle begins. The next few hours passed in a blur of frenetic activity. The command center had transformed into a hive of its own, a human hive, buzzing with ideas, innovations, and a fierce determination to survive. Sarah moved from station to station, her mind racing as she absorbed the flood of information. Professor Chen and his team had made a breakthrough in adapting Lumine shielding technology to Earth's ships, potentially giving them a fighting chance against the hive's devastating weapons. Dr. Emerson was coordinating with military strategists, using Zephyr's knowledge of hive tactics to predict their moves and plan counter-strategies. But it was the unconventional ideas that truly captured Sarah's attention. A young xenobiologist proposed using Earth's diverse microbial life as a potential weapon against the hive's biological systems. A quantum physicist suggested exploiting the hive's hive-mind communication to introduce cascading errors into their network. Each idea, no matter how outlandish, was given serious consideration. This was humanity at its finest, creative, adaptable, and utterly refusing to give up. Zephyr's mental voice brushed against Sarah's mind, tinged with a mix of awe and hope. "I have never seen anything like this. Your people's ability to innovate under pressure is remarkable." Sarah smiled grimly. "It's what we do best. Back against the wall, odds impossible. That's when humans truly shine." A commotion near the main display drew their attention. Admiral Zhao, the grizzled leader of Earth's defense fleet, was gesturing urgently at the holographic representation of the solar system. "They're splitting their forces," he announced, his voice carrying across the room. "The main fleet is still heading for Earth, but they're dispatching smaller groups to hit our colonies and outposts." Sarah frowned, studying the display. "They're trying to divide our attention, spread our defenses thin." Zephyr's skin rippled with urgent patterns. "It is a common hive tactic. They seek to isolate and overwhelm." Admiral Zhao nodded grimly. "Exactly. We don't have the numbers to defend everything. We need to choose our battles carefully." A tense silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. They would have to sacrifice some colonies to have any hope of saving Earth itself. Sarah felt the weight of countless lives pressing down on her. But then, an idea sparked. "Wait," she said, her mind racing. "What if we use their strategy against them?" All eyes turned to her as she hurried to the main display, manipulating the holographic controls. "Look, the Hive thinks they know our capabilities, our standard tactics. But what if we do something they'd never expect?" She highlighted a series of points throughout the solar system. "We have ships at each of these locations, smaller, faster vessels. Instead of trying to defend each point, what if we launch a series of hit-and-run attacks?" Admiral Zhao's eyes narrowed as he considered the idea. "Go on." "We use the new Lumine-inspired shields to get in close," Sarah continued, her words coming faster as the plan took shape. "Strike hard at their command ships, then jump away before they can retaliate. We can't match them in a straight fight, but we can confuse them, disrupt their coordination." Zephyr's mental voice was excited. "Yes, the Hive relies heavily on central coordination. If we can sever enough command links, we might just buy Earth the time it needs." Admiral Zhao finished, a fierce grin spreading across his weathered face. "It's risky as hell, but it just might work." "Well done, Scout Reeves." As the Admiral began barking orders, coordinating the daring new strategy, Sarah felt a surge of pride. This was what she had trained for, what humanity as a whole had been building towards for generations. The chance to prove themselves on the galactic stage. Dr. Emerson approached, her eyes shining with a mix of pride and concern. "Sarah, I hate to pull you away, but there's something you need to see." She led Sarah and Zephyr to a side room, where a team of archaeologists and linguists were poring over ancient texts and artifacts. An elderly woman looked up as they entered, her face etched with excitement. "Dr. Emerson, Scout Reeves, we found something," she said, gesturing to a weathered stone tablet. "It's a Lumine artifact, hidden for thousands of years. We think it might be a key to activating the weapon." Sarah's heart raced as she examined the tablet. Strange, flowing symbols covered its surface, pulsing faintly with an inner light. "Can you translate it?" The linguist shook her head. "Not fully. But there's one phrase that keeps repeating. In our best approximation, it translates to, 'The key lies within the bridge between worlds.'" Zephyr's skin rippled with recognition. Of course, the alien breathed. It was there all along. Sarah turned to her friend. "What do you mean?" "The weapon," Zephyr explained, their mental voice thrumming with excitement. "It's not a device. Not really. It's a potential. The potential for connection between species, between humans and Lumine." Understanding dawned on Sarah. "The neural link," she whispered. "Like how I can control your ship, how we can communicate telepathically. That's the weapon." Zephyr nodded. "But amplified, expanded to a scale we've never attempted before. If we could establish a link between a human mind and the full extent of Lumine knowledge, we could potentially interface directly with Hive technology," Sarah finished, her mind reeling with the possibilities. "Shut them down from the inside." Dr. Emerson's eyes widened. "The ultimate hack. But the strain on a human mind, it could be deadly," Sarah said quietly. She met Zephyr's gaze, seeing the same realization in the alien's multifaceted eyes. "It would have to be me, wouldn't it? I already have experience with the link." Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Admiral Zhao's voice crackled over the intercom. All personnel, brace for impact. Hive forces have broken through our outer defenses. They'll be in weapons range of Earth within the hour. The room shook as the first distant explosions reached them. Sarah steadied herself against a wall, her resolve hardening. "We're out of time," she said. "We have to try this. Now." Dr. Emerson grabbed her arm. "Sarah, wait. The risks are nothing compared to what will happen if we do nothing," Sarah interrupted gently. She smiled at her old mentor. "This is what I signed up for, isn't it? To push the boundaries of human experience, to make a difference." Tears shimmered in Dr. Emerson's eyes, but she nodded. "You always were my most stubborn student. All right, let's do this." They rushed back to the main command center, where chaos reigned. Holographic displays showed Earth's defense fleet engaged in desperate battle against the encroaching Hive ships. The hit-and-run tactics were working to some degree, sowing confusion among the enemy ranks. But it wasn't enough. The sheer numbers of the Hive were overwhelming. Admiral Zhao turned as they entered, his face grim. "Please tell me you have something, because we're running out of options fast." Sarah took a deep breath. "We have a plan. It's dangerous, and there's no guarantee it will work, but it's our best shot." As she quickly outlined the idea, the Admiral's eyebrows rose higher and higher. When she finished, he was silent for a long moment. "You're talking about risking your life on an untested theory," he said finally. Sarah nodded. "Yes, sir." The Admiral's weathered face broke into a wry smile. "Well, it's not the craziest thing I've heard today. What do you need?" "A direct link to our most powerful communications array," Sarah replied. "And a ship. The fastest, most advanced one we have." Admiral Zhao barked out orders, and within minutes, Sarah found herself being ushered towards a sleek vessel unlike anything she'd ever seen. It was a hybrid of human and Lumine technology, built for this very moment. As she prepared to board, Zephyr caught her arm. The alien's skin was pulsing with complex, worried patterns. "Sarah," Zephyr said, their mental voice heavy with emotion, "you must understand. If we do this, if we establish a full link, I don't know if I can protect your mind from the full force of Lumine knowledge. The strain could be too much." Sarah placed her hand over Zephyr's. "I know the risks, my friend, but this is bigger than just me. It's about giving humanity, giving all of us, a fighting chance." Zephyr's multifaceted eyes seemed to shimmer. "You truly are remarkable beings. It has been an honor to know you, Sarah Reeves." "The honor has been mine," Sarah replied, her voice thick with emotion. "Now let's go save the galaxy, shall we?" As Sarah boarded the ship, she felt a strange calm settle over her. This was it, the moment everything had been leading to. Behind her, Earth hung in the void, beautiful and fragile. Before her, the vast swarm of the Hive approached, a darkness threatening to extinguish the light of countless worlds. She settled into the pilot's seat, the neural interface humming to life around her. Zephyr's presence was a comforting warmth in her mind as the ship rocketed away from Earth, streaking towards the heart of the Hive fleet. "All systems online," Sarah reported, her voice steady. "Beginning final approach." Admiral Zhao's voice crackled over the comm. "Good luck, Scout Reeves. The hopes of humanity go with you." As they neared the massive Hive command ship, Sarah felt the first tendrils of Lumine knowledge begin to seep into her mind. It was overwhelming, vast and ancient, filled with the accumulated wisdom of a species that had traveled the stars for eons. "Remember," Zephyr's mental voice cautioned, "focus on the task at hand. Do not let yourself be swept away by the flood of information." Sarah gritted her teeth, pushing through the rising tide of alien thoughts and memories. She could feel the Hive now, their collective consciousness, a dark, pulsing presence. Somewhere within that mass was the key, the central node that coordinated their vast fleet. As the ship dodged and weaved through enemy fire, Sarah stretched out with her mind, searching, probing. The strain was immense, like trying to hold back an ocean with her bare hands. But then, Just as the pressure became almost unbearable, she felt it. A flicker of vulnerability in the hive's defenses. "There," she cried, her voice trained. "I've found it." With every ounce of will she possessed, Sarah focused on that weak point. She could feel Zephyr's strength flowing into her, supporting her as she pushed against the hive's collective will. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, nothing happened. Then, like a dam bursting, she broke through. Sarah gasped as the full extent of the hive's network lay bare before her. She could see it all. Every ship, every drone, every tendril of their vast empire. And with that vision came understanding. She knew how to shut them down. With desperate speed, Sarah began to work, using the combined knowledge of humanity and the Luminae to rewrite the very core of the hive's operating systems. Fail-safes triggered, countermeasures activated, but she was always one step ahead, her hybrid consciousness dancing through their defenses. Outside, in the physical world, the effect was immediate and dramatic. Hive ships began to falter, their coordination dissolving into chaos. Weapons powered down, engines sputtered and died. The vast swarm that had seemed unstoppable mere moments ago was now adrift, confused, and vulnerable. Admiral Zhao's voice, filled with awe and disbelief, echoed through the ship. "My God, it's working. All hive vessels are going dark. Scout Reeves, do you copy?" But Sarah couldn't respond. The strain of maintaining the link, of processing the vast amounts of information flowing through her mind, was too much. She could feel herself slipping away, her consciousness fragmenting under the immense pressure. As darkness began to close in around her, Sarah had one final, crystal-clear thought. It was worth it. Then, everything went black. Triumph of unity. The first thing Sarah became aware of was the soft, rhythmic beeping of medical equipment. Slowly, painfully, she opened her eyes, squinting against the harsh light of what appeared to be a hospital room. As her vision cleared, she saw a familiar face looking down at her with a mixture of relief and concern. "Welcome back to the land of the living, Scout Reeves," Dr. Emerson said softly, a tired smile playing on her lips. "You had us worried there for a while." Sarah tried to speak, but her throat was dry and raw. Dr. Emerson quickly offered her a sip of water. After a moment, Sarah managed to croak out, How long?" "You've been unconscious for nearly 2 weeks," Dr. Emerson replied, her voice tinged with awe. "The strain on your mind was, well, let's just say it's a miracle you're here at all." As the fog in Sarah's mind began to clear, memories came rushing back. The desperate plan, the merging of her consciousness with the Luminae knowledge, the overwhelming sensation of interfacing with the hive network. She sat up suddenly, ignoring the wave of dizziness that washed over her. "The hive," she gasped. "What happened? Did it work?" Dr. Emerson gently pushed her back onto the bed. "Easy there. Yes, it worked. Better than we could have ever hoped. The entire hive fleet was disabled. Earth's forces, along with our off-world colonies, were able to neutralize the threat completely." Sarah let out a shaky breath, relief flooding through her. "And Zephyr is." "I am here, my friend," came the familiar mental voice. Sarah turned to see the Luminae standing in the doorway, their skin pulsing with warm, comforting patterns. "It brings me great joy to see you awake." As Zephyr approached the bed, Sarah noticed something different about the alien. Their movements seemed more fluid, their colors more vibrant. "You look healthier," she observed. Zephyr's mental voice held a note of amusement. "A side effect of our profound connection. It seems the melding of our minds had some unexpected benefits for both of us." Before Sarah could ask for clarification, the door burst open and a crowd of familiar faces poured in. Professor Chen, Admiral Zhao, and several of the scientists and military personnel she had worked with during the crisis. Their faces were a mixture of joy, relief, and barely contained excitement. Admiral Zhao stepped forward, his usually stern face breaking into a wide grin. Scout Reeves, he said formally, though his eyes twinkled. On behalf of Earth and all her colonies, I want to thank you for your extraordinary service. You've saved not just our world, but countless others. Sarah felt a blush creeping up her cheeks. I just did what anyone would have done in my position, sir. Professor Chen let out a bark of laughter. What anyone would have done. My dear, you interfaced your mind with alien technology and rewrote the operating system of an entire hostile species. I'd say that's a bit beyond the call of duty. As the room filled with chuckles, Dr. Emerson cleared her throat. As much as we'd all love to celebrate, I think Scout Reeves needs a bit more rest. And she added, her eyes twinkling, I believe we have a rather important meeting to prepare for. Sarah's brow furrowed in confusion. Meeting? What meeting? Admiral Zhou's expression turned serious. The Galactic Council, Scout Reeves. Representatives from dozens of spacefaring races are gathering as we speak. The defeat of the Hive has, well, it's changed everything. Humanity is about to step onto a much larger stage. Sarah's mind reeled at the implications. But I don't understand. How did they even know to come? Zephyr stepped forward, their mental voice filled with pride. When we interfaced with the Hive network, we didn't just shut them down. We broadcast a message, a call for unity, for cooperation among all sentient species. It seems the galaxy was more than ready to answer. As the others filed out, promising to return soon with more details, Sarah was left alone with Zephyr and Dr. Emerson. She turned to her alien friend, 1,000 questions burning in her mind. Zephyr, what exactly happened when we linked? I remember interfacing with the Hive, but after that, Zephyr's skin rippled with complex patterns. The merger of our minds, combined with the vast knowledge of the Luminae and your own innate human creativity, created something unprecedented. For a brief moment, we were able to see the connections between all things, to understand the fundamental unity underlying the diversity of the universe. Dr. Emerson nodded, her eyes shining with scientific curiosity. The data we've gathered from that moment is, well, it's revolutionary. We're talking about advancements in physics, biology, even philosophy that could reshape our understanding of the cosmos. Sarah let out a long breath, trying to process it all. And the Hive? What happened to them? Transformed, Zephyr replied. Your actions didn't just shut them down. They rewrote the very core of their collective consciousness. The Hive still exists, but no longer as a conquering force. They've been reprogrammed, for lack of a better term. Their drive to consume and destroy has been replaced with a desire to learn, to cooperate. Sarah shook her head in amazement. I never imagined. I hoped we'd stop them. But this. Dr. Emerson smiled warmly. You've always had a gift for exceeding expectations, Sarah. Now, why don't you get some rest? The next few days are going to be quite busy. As Sarah drifted off to sleep, her mind swam with visions of a galaxy united, of countless worlds and species coming together in the wake of the Hive's defeat. She had set out as a simple scout, hoping to push the boundaries of human exploration. Instead, she had helped reshape the very fabric of galactic society. The next few days passed in a whirlwind of debriefings, medical checkups, and preparations for the upcoming Galactic Council meeting. Sarah's strength returned quickly, another apparent side effect of her profound connection with Zephyr and the Luminae knowledge. Finally, the day of the council arrived. Sarah stood before a full-length mirror, adjusting the formal uniform that had been prepared for her. It was a striking blend of traditional human military styling and subtle Luminae aesthetics, a visual representation of the bond between their species. Zephyr appeared beside her, their skin shimmering with anticipation. Are you ready, my friend? Sarah took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. As ready as I'll ever be. Let's go make history. They were escorted to a vast amphitheater that had been constructed in record time specifically for this event. As they entered, Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The room was filled with beings of every shape, size, and color imaginable. Some were vaguely humanoid, others utterly alien. Yet all turned to watch as she and Zephyr made their way to the center of the chamber. Admiral Zhao and Dr. Emerson were already there, along with other key figures from Earth's government and scientific community. They stood on a raised platform, facing the assembled representatives of the galaxy's spacefaring races. A tall, ethereal being that seemed to be composed of pure light floated forward. When it spoke, its voice resonated directly in Sarah's mind. "Welcome, beings of Earth and Lumine. I am Xanthor, current speaker for the Galactic Council. We have gathered here today to discuss the profound changes that have swept our galaxy and to determine the path forward." Xanthor turned to Sarah, its luminous form pulsing gently. "Scout Sarah Reeves, step forward. Your actions have reshaped the course of galactic history. The defeat of the Hive threat, the unlocking of Lumine knowledge, the call for unity that echoed across the stars. All of this stems from your courage and the unique bond you forged with your Lumine companion." Sarah felt the weight of countless alien gazes upon her as she stepped forward. Her voice was steady as she addressed the assembly. "What happened wasn't just my doing. It was the result of cooperation between humans and Lumine, of taking a chance on trust and understanding in the face of overwhelming odds. If there's one thing I've learned from this experience, it's that we are all far more connected than we ever realized." A murmur of approval rippled through the gathered beings. Xanthor's glow intensified. "Well spoken. It is precisely this spirit of cooperation and mutual understanding that we hope to foster moving forward. Humanity, despite its relative youth as a spacefaring species, has demonstrated remarkable potential. The Lumine, long isolated, have shown the value of preserving and sharing ancient wisdom." The ethereal being turned to address the entire assembly. "We stand at a crossroads. The defeat of the Hive has left a void in the galactic order, but it has also presented us with an unprecedented opportunity to forge a true interstellar community based on cooperation rather than conquest." Over the next several hours, Sarah listened in awe as representatives from dozens of species shared their perspectives, their hopes, and their concerns. Plans were proposed for shared scientific endeavors, cultural exchanges, and mutual defense pacts. The transformed Hive, now a force for connection rather than destruction, would play a crucial role in facilitating communication and cooperation across vast interstellar distances. As the session drew to a close, Xanthor once again addressed Sarah and the Earth delegation. "Humanity has earned its place among the stars. We formally invite Earth to join the Galactic Council as full members. Moreover, we propose the establishment of a new initiative, the Interstellar Cooperation and Exchange Program. Its first mission will be to replicate and study the unique human-Lumine connection that proved so pivotal in recent events." Sarah felt a swell of emotion as she realized the implications. What had started as a chance encounter on a desolate world had blossomed into something that would reshape the future of multiple species. Admiral Zhao stepped forward, his voice filled with pride. "On behalf of Earth and all her people, we accept your invitation and wholeheartedly support this new initiative." As the assembly erupted into a chorus of approval, everything from humanoid applause to harmonic resonances and bioluminescent displays, Sarah felt Zephyr's mental voice, warm with affection. "It seems our adventure was only the beginning, my friend." Sarah smiled, her eyes shining with the promise of the future stretching out before them. "I wouldn't have it any other way." In the days and weeks that followed, Sarah found herself at the center of a whirlwind of activity. As one of the key figures in the new Interstellar Cooperation and Exchange Program, she split her time between Earth and a dozen alien worlds, helping to forge connections and build understanding between vastly different species. The unique bond she shared with Zephyr became a model for a new form of diplomacy, one based on deep, empathic connection rather than mere words. Other human-alien pairs followed in their footsteps, each discovering new ways to bridge the gaps between their respective cultures. As Sarah stood on the observation deck of Earth's first true interstellar ship, preparing to embark on a mission of exploration and diplomacy to the far reaches of the galaxy. She reflected on how far they had come. From a scout on a routine mission to a key player in a new galactic order, her journey had been nothing short of extraordinary. Zephyr joined her at the viewport, their mental voice filled with excitement for the adventure ahead. "Are you ready, Sarah Reeves?" Sarah grinned, her eyes fixed on the star-studded expanse before them. "Always. Let's see what's out there." As the ship's engines hummed to life, preparing to carry them into the unknown, Sarah felt a profound sense of hope. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and humanity had taken its first true steps into a larger universe. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, not just as humans, but as part of a grand interstellar community. The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning.